obviously for you, one of the most interesting factors is the Matt kind of coming into your Rooster as an athlete and you starting to coach him. And I think something, because from our perspective, you only see kind of the outside or the social media dynamic of it. And I think a lot of people, including myself, are interested to know how the dynamic works within the group, of how a kind of daily session looks. For example, like does Matt follow the programming 100%? Would he just follow along exactly what you guys do? Will he modify things? Like the kind of in-depth of I suppose a behind the scenes verbal look at a training with you guys.
Yeah, so Judd, I'll keep some cards close. I don't want to give them all away. No, I'm kidding. But what I will say is, if I had to break it down in a percentage, I would say that 80% of the time, or I would say 85% of the time, Tia and Matt are training together. The other 15 would be when one of them are on the road, or that we're doing a monostructural piece in the morning and we've got our own little small setup in our apartment. So we'll just do our rowing intervals here, and then Matt would do them in his garage at home, and then we would exchange notes later. But that for the rest of it, these guys train together and completely do the same workouts. What's phenomenal about it is that they have so many strengths that are very similar to each other, so that we can create a program, or we can structure a program to suit them both. There are times where, like for instance, handstand walk, Matt won't have to do as much as that. So he'll work on another piece where Tia will work more solely on that, and vice versa. So like when those happen, we certainly adjust on the fly there, or not on the fly, but we adjust or compensate for that. But yeah, Matt would do absolutely everything we have done, and he also provides input as well, and so does Tia for that matter. But that's what I wanted. Again, talking about that transparency, like I want him. He was a phenomenal athlete before he got to me. So the fact that, so I want to take in his input, because he would have had a lot of learnings that I want to implement to our training, which has helped him. And I want to obviously add that, and then vice versa as well, that I try to create a plan for him to be at his best. I think the only complication when I'm starting to think more into it would certainly be around the sanction events. When Matt went to London, Tia wasn't doing London. She did the Mayhem Classic weeks prior to that. So that overlap, that period there, we had them doing different training, obviously for Matt to peak at one time and Tia to peak earlier. But other than that, these guys would do a lot of training, and they're phenomenal. They exchange notes towards each other after a workout, and they'll talk about what they did. Sometimes they'll do different strategies on purpose, just so they can reflect and then go, hey, this worked better. Obviously, this worked better, or they'll just exchange notes that way. Again, these guys are phenomenal. They're very conscious of their body, so it's very easy in that sense. So I think.
And do they does the programming often happen on a weekly, do you just present, say, here guys, here's the week's programming, or does it happen in a daily basis each morning that you'll sit down and go through?
Yeah, so I like to, if I've got a strength program which carries over 8 weeks, obviously I populate, say, the 8 weeks and put them in the spreadsheet. I like to fill out the entire week. I like to have a 2-week plan, loose plan, say for instance, AM swim, PM, gym and whatever hill sprints here, or I like to do XYZ there. But what I like to do, then for the week at hand, I populate that to about 85%. But let's talk, say it's Monday, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday will be 100% filled out. It's just the remainder of the week, which isn't completely filled out. And as the days move forward, I'm a day and a half or 2 days ahead that I'm filling it out completely. And why I think that's important is just that if something I didn't factor in, say, oh, that's right, I forgot that they did 300 air squats, hence why their legs are sore on Wednesday. Let me just remove this squat session here and then put it on Friday. So that's how I typically do 90% of the year. The other part would be in the off season where I just free range or do nothing completely.